Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Check it out, your boy, P Farm, thinking right out here in my lab, in the book, in the fourth parable. I got some good stuff for you today, so let's get this thing on the way. Rightisms, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission, and I'm on it, is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to, you got it, know thyself. You see where we're going with this? Is to get there together, and I'll ask the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through, 'cause that's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you have to answer for yourself, tune in, I got you. A person who knows not, and knows not that they know not, is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not, and knows that they know not, yeah, they simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know, he's spiritually asleep. I can awaken him. I'm spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself. And to my eye, be true. Fourth parable. And this is all about you making decisions, and the decision that you make, you can serve you, your ego self, or you can serve your higher self. Your ego self will give you momentary and monetary awards at that particular time. But there's a price that you pay for that. When you serve the higher self, do what's right, do selfless service, do what you're supposed to do, he'll bless you. Your choice. Let's go. What we call soul selling, okay? The concept is when you willingly do wrong. You selling your soul what? To your ego self. Why? That's what you're satisfying now, not your higher self, doing the right thing. As parents, we reward our children when they do what we ask them to do. When they follow the rules that we set for, we reward them. We teach them right from wrong. When they don't do what we want them to do, when they act out, they need to be disciplined. That's our job. Why? So that they would know what not to do. Why? Discipline is a deterrent, not an abuse. Understand that we don't, anything else, we really take stuff to the extreme. That's where Maya had balance. You had to keep the child understanding good, bad. If you do bad, you do good, you get rewarded. That ain't hard to figure out. Pavlov theory work for dogs. It can work for human beings, kids also. Sorry. Get back, calm down, you get excited. But this concept of soul selling, when you intentionally do wrong, watch this. When a person overlooks performing correct action, doing the right thing, in favor of what? Indulging in their for their personal desires and their selfish gains, and the action will be based on what? Egoism. That's egoism at its best right there. Y'all call it the devil. I don't care what you call it. Okay, we didn't have a devil, I can tell you, so we knew it as set. And if the devil means what? Anything in opposition, anyone in opposition to God. Ain't no real devil. Devil come black, white, green, yellow, orange, male, female, whatever else you want to consider yourself nowadays. Transgender don't make a difference. When you go against what's right, you are the devil, philosophically. Okay, just understand. So, no. You in control of your good action to get your blessing, just as well as your bad action, wrong action, you got to serve the punishment. Moving on. Nobody's exempt. All right? Got the clock? No exceptions. Okay? But if all your actions is predicated and tainted with egoism, meaning you have an agenda, a hidden agenda, remember, God knows the heart. And if you're that ignorant that you think God don't know your intentions, be they good or bad, you don't know jack. You sure don't know yourself. Wow, that's the first thing about knowing yourself. He knows what goes on here. And watch this. When all your actions are tainted with egoism, hidden agenda, will what? Inevitably lead to future disappointments, frustrations, and at some point in the future. Why? That's karma. You're going to get back what you put out. That's why. Moving on. Therefore, okay, the inability to act right in accordance with what we call mayat, which is truth, it must be understood as a what? A defect. What's the first thing we ask our children to do something we know we told not to do? What is wrong with you? What is your malfunction? I'll never forget, 4 minutes. He was the wrong one to mess with. What his question, I'm telling you, and you calm down. But yeah, it's a malfunction. It's a defect in what your personality and your thought process, what they call. You ready? That's called mental illness. When you intentionally willingly do something wrong, come on now. Y'all kill me. You want to be everything straightforward until there's something that you don't really want to do. No, just keep it straightforward. Simple fact, okay? If you do something that you know is wrong, you got a problem. It's a mental problem. Simple as that. If you're a man that think he's a woman, that's a mental problem. If you're a woman, believe you're a man, that's a mental problem. Again, get out of there. Leave that alone. But it's all based on the ego. And if you don't have control of that, it had you doing all kind of nonsense. Okay? So where we at? But everything you do with a hidden agenda, you will pay for it at a certain point. So therefore, the inability, mental illness. But it is the illness, you ready? That illness is called delusions. You are delusional. When I went to the mental institution, you know what they say I suffered from? Delusions of grandeur. Moving on. And delusions are what? Are intensified by activities which bolster what? The ego. You see how swell up? My man stayed on swole. he like I was, like I went right thinking philosophy. That's how he was with his ego. He's a Leo. And he wanted gold. Moving on. But yeah, it's all ego. What's this? The activities in life that bolster what? One's ego. He had it his way. Spiritual ignorance is what that is. And I can attest to that now. I was the one spiritual ignorant that I didn't know. That's what ignorance means. Not knowing. I don't know if he knows now, but he probably knew. He just, again, he did that. He sold his soul. He started out left and never came right. His name ain't right. His name is Savior. All right. But when you have spiritual ignorance and that egoistic desire, what? To serve you, you're going to do you. Okay. So the pleasure seeking, and that's how I grew up. Pleasure seeking. What? Mentality. Get mine and do my thing. Yeah. Okay. Pimp hoes and slam Cadillac doors. Okay. Pocket for the door. I pocket, man. Yeah. That I got from my old man. Moving on. And the pursuit of what's this? Sensual pleasures. I was having sex back in the day like I ate food 3 times a day, sometimes 4. But yeah, that was my pleasure. Man, moving on. Get out of there. Okay. But that sexual desires of the flesh to possess objects. Oh, he had toys up the wazoo. Motorcycles, vans, and Cadillac. He had a whole bunch of stuff. He loved stuff. And when he died, all that stuff stayed right here. Everybody came and picked, pull, rob, and claim, nothing less. But in life, when you hoard stuff, you can't take it with you. I'm not. Best you gonna get is some books. Ain't got no money. I ain't got no stuff. I know a few bits of memorabilia. I ain't big on that, so I ain't beat for that. Moving on. Again, once you realize certain things, what's this? Pleasures and desires and possession of objects, such as wealth, fame, power for personal, aggrandizement, okay, are all examples of egoistic desires which lead to delusion and mental agitation. When I was with him on the deathbed, scared to death. I'm not going out like my old man. Whoa. I learned a lesson by that guy. Okay, moving on. But yeah, he's ego personified. That's where I got it from. I had to come out that man. I know, no, that ain't for me. So I learned that lesson the real old-fashioned way. How much time I got? Okay. But you get your spiritual teachings right, thinkers. And by getting it, it will allow a person to what? To discover what? A higher form of fulfillment from within inside, not with objects outside. And it will allow a person to truly understand what the underlying basis of creation and the illusionist of what? Your earthly desires, because they're fleeting, egoistic pursuits and perishable objects. Anything in the world you will leave here. You can't take nothing with you. You need to have some relationships and own some possessions in the course of a normal life. That's fine. Again, your choice again. However, you should never put them or hold anything in this world, physical objects, even of your experiencing of it and your possessing of it. Your possessions and even your relationships, watch this, should be based on, you ready for this? Righteousness and truth. And never on ostentatiousness, greed, and lust. My first wife, second wife, okay, wrong reasons. That's why it don't last. Moving on. I can attest again to that. Old school, been there, done that. Watch this. Now, this is the fun part for me. This is going to be good. Pay attention. The spiritual lifestyle that you live, right, thinkers, of spiritual aspirant, that's who y'all are. When you go beyond the erroneous, ignorance, desires and thoughts and sexual desires and feelings that cause what? You agitation to your mind. Once you realize I'm not getting caught up in that, you start to become what? Calmer, less agitated. Watch this. This is all about mind control. Why? It shows a person how to calm the mind. That's what meditation is for. I take you through all this. This is the whole point. This is the last paragraph. This game, this is the mind game. When the mind is calmed, it becomes clear, just as a lake becomes clear when what? When the waves subside and sediment sets down. This calmness, which brought on by meditation or serenity of what? One's mind, allows the real essence of a person to become what? Visible, and now the ego becomes transparent. He ain't in control no more. He will give up, so to speak. And when you call on him, he'll never let you down. That's where he needs to be. And when the mind is cleansed, with what? Righteous living, selfless service, the divine self now comes into clear view. You can actually see as the reality that sustains the ego. That's the real deal, not the ego. When the mind is purified, enlightened, what's this? It's now what? Devoid of its own pressures of desires and illusions. I know everything that I own that I have really means nothing. But I own what I like. I get what I like. That's about it. I'm not beat for a whole bunch of stuff. That's just me. I can't speak for nobody else. A lot of people want stuff. My old man, he loves stuff, toys. I hated that. Moving on, clutter. All right. But once one reaches a state, what's this, of harmony with what? The universe, your higher self. Y'all all connected. This all mental. The universe is all mind. It's all mental. Once you make that connection, that's what God is. God is the universe. In this state of what? Consciousness. God, I keep telling you, spirit and consciousness. When you make that connection with him, heart, mind, coherence, now you become conscious, which a person, watch this, every person has to experience when what? When the mind is serene, is referred to as being lucidity of mind. What that means? Lucidity is the quality in which a characterized by what? The detachment, taking yourself out of nonsense, from the ego. The ego self is not running the show. And identification with what? With your higher self. Haru. That's the spirit that sent me and you. Because our father is a Sar. He's the first death by who? His evil uncle, which is your ego set. Okay? The ego destroys. And your goal in life is to what? resurrect your father's spirit by destroying the ego. Put him in position of what? Servitude. Let's go. Yeah, come on. Oh, we good. But therefore, when you start thinking God, when you start living God, a lot of people think you got to be holy. No, just live right. God recognizes that action. Man hears all that. No, just show. That's what you got to do. Just do. God recognizes action, deeds. So how you think he take care and punish those who do the bad stuff? You see that too. So therefore, lucidity of the mind is the object. You ready? Here's go. Of all spiritual discipline and all right thinkers. The goal, because it leads to spiritual enlightenment. My favorite one, self-knowledge, which is the best knowledge. Why? You take that with you. That's the ticket to get you in. You know thyself, not Jesus. Nah, that won't get you nowhere. I know thyself. I know thy heart is pure. But no, don't tell me about it. Put your heart on the scale. Okay, I'm a gambler. Throw it out there. Gamble. Okay, I'm taking my shot. Why? When the way I live and what I think I need to be doing, I'm ready. I ain't scared. If you scared, that means you got some stuff that you hiding. Transparency is the best way to go. So I'm comfortable in what I do. Are you? That's all that counts. What you think about yourself. I know me. The idea for you to know you. I'm trying to get you to do just that by showing you how it's done. Where am I down here? Spiritual lifestyle. Know thyself. Okay. What we that? Okay, self-knowledge. And remember, with self-knowledge, you become what? Free from what? Ignorance of egoism, and you can avoid the negative karma. Why? You start to lighten your heart. You're purifying your heart. You start living right and doing right. That takes the weight off the heart. So at Judgment Day, bam, as light as Maya's feather conceptually. And a person who is lucid, free from attachments, and eternally fulfilled, means you good from it inside out. He or she has expressed his what? Goodwill. You know how people who just happy, my man mom, I love her. She just is, when she prayed, she said, Father, she called God Father. She said, bless everybody. We all in need of prayer. She covers everybody. That's a goodwill person who what? Their heart is pure. And everything they do towards all, and they display what? A gentle nature. I've never seen my dude lose his cool. Never seen him wild out. His mom is the nicest person I met. And I'm still, the joke is, I met her 40-something years ago. She still looked the same. I said, Mom, you're 90 years old. I've been knowing you since I was 20-something, and you still look the same. I go, oh, gray and white. She said, but that's because I trusted God. I couldn't argue that. She's a Christian. Devout. Oldest lady in my church. Love to death. And everything they say about that, it referred to anybody who's serving the Lord in earnest. It don't care about your religion. That's my thing. It's all spiritual and mental. Heart, mind, coherence. But this was what Hadu's condition when Tahuti got her back to her normal, and she entered. When she went back home to the city of Waset, they opened the arms. They was happy for. What's this? I see the clock. I got to start beating the clock. I got one more page of stuff there. This is good stuff. To me, it was fluff, but no, let me bring it to them. Let them make that decision. So let me get some more into it for you right quick. It is noticeable. It is notable that Hadu was a vicious beast. When what? When she was in that state of dullness, of ignorance, the ego mind, when she was just tearing stuff up, okay, lost her composure, lost her sense of who she was, and she just went a rampage. That's the ego. She done edged her father out, forgot who she was. That's egoistic people. And they won't call on what? Somebody outside themselves or somebody inside, what they're thinking, until what? They fear when they think death is coming. Now they want to talk to God. Now they want to get close to God. All the time. No. God don't work like that. And what killed me is them deathbed confessions. If you mistreated 1,000 people, and in your deathbed, you got to say one, I'm sorry. Won't get you in. Moving on past that. But again, because they're in the dull state of mind, in ignorance, and their mind is always agitated. They're never comfortable. He never found peace. Okay? But then what happened? She reverted back to her true self. From what? When she became gentle, kind, and was calm mentally. This points to what? That's the fact that the source of ugliness, here you go, and negativity within the human personality lies in the state mind which a person adopts. You are what you believe you are. And that mindset which a person adopts is in accordance with what? With their level of spiritual evolution. How spiritual are you? So therefore, ignorance and delusions only lead to what? Ugliness and negativity in the form of, you ready? Anger, hatred, greed, selfishness, jealousy, conflict, frustration, violence. Woo-wee. Those are all qualities that you exhibit and probably don't even pay attention to them. And we swear to God, no, not ain't me. I tell you, if you don't know nobody like that, go look in the mirror. But watch this. Now, this is all the ego. This is why you want to control the ego. Why? That's what you would be under if your ego influenced. Those qualities are what you exhibit. But now, on the other hand, serenity, lucidity of the mind leads one to what? The expression of peace, gentleness, compassion, love, and other virtuous qualities that's in one's personality when they decide to what? Serve their higher self, not the ego self. Why? If you serve the higher self doing these things, you'll get something in return. It's called blessings. When you do the other things for yourself, you can't bless yourself. You can satisfy yourself for the moment. You can get whatever you want, but you can't bless yourself. That's the difference. The devil can't bless you. He'll make you a whole bunch of promises. But if you make the deal with the devil, it's your fault. Moving on. I made the deal with God. And wrap this up for you. Oh, Lord. Okay, I got one more part. That's perfect. Let me get this out the way. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. When you opt to do the right thing, there's a reward there. Right thing people do it. Right thing, you think I'll be here every day if I wasn't being rewarded? Well, I thought you get paid. No. But that ain't the pay. The pay is in blessings. I'm a true servant. I told you that in the last lesson. Let me wrap this up. So now, an ordinary person say or think they need what? An ordinary person needs to enjoy the company of another person. That's ordinary. I'm not ordinary. Or, what's this? Or to experience more situation in time and space to feel joy and happiness. If you think something outside of you will bring you that, you're looking in all the wrong places. Watch this. But this is the difference. There we go. Between what? An unenlightened, aka an ignorant person, and a person who is advanced spiritually, aka enlightened or right thinker. A person who has experienced the absolute state of what? Consciousness, waking up, aka can remember what? The experience and the feel of unobstructed bliss. When you become one with God, that's the mental orgasm, spiritual orgasm. Why? That's bliss. Bliss physically is the orgasm, but the mental and the mind bliss is what? You're calm, you're at peace with yourself. That's why, okay? And you get that through righteous living, daily meditation, and you will have that feeling of what? Unobstructed bliss and joy. This act of what you call recalling the experience, what? Of the divine. Everybody remember that time. I know like it was yesterday, okay? When I had my conversation with God, my experience, my enlightenment, okay? You don't forget that. Like the first time. And the rest of it, that rebirth, that is the first time, that spiritual rebirth. And watch this. Now, when you had experience of the divine, become awakened, it is known, you ready, as remembrance of God. We are God. We just don't have a memory of it. The quicker you get to understand, the quicker you get enlightened, the better your life will be. Why? You good to go. That's all. My pastor been good since he was 15 years old. Moving on. If God called me, my ears was plugged up with a bunch of nonsense. I know that for a fact, and I ain't ashamed. But I heard the second call, and my mom said, I'm glad you answered. Now, but when that feeling of what? Of oneness right there. If you think you just an individual, you ain't never going to have that oneness. Why? Because you ain't going to open up consciously enough to be able to do that due to your ignorance and your ego self. When you had that feeling of oneness with what? With the divine, with God, becomes a what? A perpetual experience. I'm God conscious. Why? I'm God all the time. I ain't no fanatic. I ain't freaking out. I ain't all that nonsense. I just live right. That's what I mean by being conscious. If I got a thought of doing something wrong, other side said, no, we don't want to do that. Okay. I'm listening to that side. 40-some years ago, I wanted to do something wrong. They said, don't do that. Didn't listen. Ended up in prison. Now, I always listen. Moving on. That's why Mom here. I'm glad you listened. Yeah, oh, yeah, you got my undivided attention this time. Moving on. But with that state of referred to is what? Spiritual enlightenment. When you God conscious, you have spiritual enlightenment. You know God for yourself. You done had your own experience. So you ain't concerned about what somebody else think or feel. The God of my understanding, we good to go. Now, whatever issue you got with the God that you either one or two things, theist or atheist. You believe or you don't believe. That's your choice. Again, I don't give which one you choose. Don't make a difference to me, but I respect your decision. That's the difference. I don't care what you choose or not choose. I made my decision for myself. That's it. Understand that, please. And when you have spiritual enlightenment, or what they call achieving oneness with the divine, it's the same thing. Anointed from Christians, but ordinary people experience what? A tiny and transient glimpses of what? Just bliss and joy, what? In their daily life, sometimes by accident, as what? They call it happiness and elation when things are going good. Oh, I'm blessed. I woke up this morning. However, they ascribe it to some object they acquired or some person that's in their life or some situation that favors them that they saw as what? Beneficial. Those are all illusions. Those are all objects, things that don't serve your purpose, but here, physically. You can have all that. But others, watch this, experience joy when? Spontaneously. For what? For no apparent reason. You ever had that? When you just feel good. You just feel good. Why? That's you and God coming together. Y'all just having a moment. I get goosebumps. But it fades away. Why? As mysteriously as it came. But a sage, and that's what I am, a practitioner of Sema-Yoga, I call it right thing in philosophy, but it's Sema-Yoga, you learn what? To discover the source of what? Bliss. Where the bliss comes from? God, knowing Him, experiencing Him, becoming one with Him. That's bliss. And if you're a Christian, I don't care what you call it, but that's what you're doing. Y'all get all holy. I don't care. But why? That's how everybody expressed their connection with God. Totally different, and they got the free will to do just that. But I can tell if you're at that level. Why? Because I am. So, and what it is what they call unobstructed joy. You can't block that joy I get from God, from inside. Outside sources can't mess with that. Hammer, can't touch this, okay? And that joy that makes me feel good about who I am, you can't touch that. You didn't make it, so you can't break it, okay? And watch this. And to abide there. I got my calling 15 years ago. I've been there ever since. My pastor got his calling at 15. He been doing that thing a long time. So yeah, and what happened? That means you continuously being not allowing what your egoistic, aka the devil's desires and expectations, and sentimentally becoming what? Angry, showing hatred, greed, etc. to what? To cloud their experience. They don't allow those things to come into their mix. Simple as that. You control that. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. And the unobstructed, yes, right there. Oh, Lord. Wrapping it up right now, taking it in. The unobstructed experience of joy and peace is what all living things are striving for in various ways. Again, even if they do not realize it, therefore what? It is said that enlightened sage has accomplished what? The most important task in life is what? Achieving which nothing is left to be achieved. Therefore, they direct their energy of spiritual upliftment, what? To humanity. That's why I'm here every day doing what I do for you. That's the lesson. And I got to go. I see the time right now. Sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed the lesson. I enjoyed giving it. In closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100, me, 100 miles a day. So I never know my right thinkers who get in control of that ego thing and passed away. I'll be right back.